Welcome to the Seek Wisdom podcast, where we talk with others who love Jesus about wisdom in the faith. I'm your host, Nehemiah, and our guest today is Jordan Lee. Thank you for being here.
This is going to be so fun. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. So for those who don't know you, how long have you been a follower of Jesus, and what else should we know about you?
Yeah, I've been a follower for about 15 years or so. It was about high schoolish area where I really dove in. We had a crazy Christian lady neighbor.
Okay.
And I was best friends with her kids and stuff.
Cool.
But they always went to church. I never went to church, didn't even know anything about it. But she always was inviting us. Her kids were always inviting me, and I went on Wednesday night to like their youth group at the time.
Yeah.
At that moment, I felt like the love of God, which I
cool.
felt like I was not sure what love was, just with family things going on that we had, and I felt that in that moment. I was like, oh my gosh, what is this?
Yeah.
And so just kept on going and diving in, and eventually my mom became a Christian, my dad became a Christian. So it's really cool to see like that legacy of that crazy Christian neighbor lady.
Yeah.
Just following her life and seeing all that, and eventually our whole family then became Christian and love and follow the Lord greatly because of someone's just diligence in the Lord. So it's an incredible story there. But then I went to a Christian college down in Florida and got some college there, and then came to Journey Church, and I've been here for about 8 years or so, working at different various ministries here. And so now I work for Pastor Kevin Taylor in his office.
That's amazing. Yeah. Sweet. Super cool. I love that story. The first thing that I'm going to ask you is, what is your life verse, and how do you let that, kind of impact the way that you live your life?
So yeah, my life verse, I have it down here, is Romans 8:38 and 39. It's, "For I'm convinced that neither life nor death, nor angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any power will able to separate you from the love of God." Now that I got that in college, I think I read that for the first time. I was maybe a few years of a Christian at that point. Never read that, and I was like, oh my gosh, like nothing can separate me from the love of God. And on here, I was reading. I was like, I don't see the past at all. I was like, that kind of frightens me. I was like, does that that keep me from that? And I heard from the Lord, I was like, it's not in there. I don't remember. I don't know what you're talking about, kind of thing.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like thank you, Lord, for loving me no matter what I've done or what I feel could separate us. So it's just a constant reminder for me that His love is never ending. And honestly, a character thing for me to reflect in my relationships, that my love is never ending, for people as well. So that's really my life verse. I kind of focus everything on.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the past thing. I feel like, we all struggle with that to some extent. And no matter where you are in your faith, even, I feel like somehow that always comes back. But I think it's cool that not only you've allowed that to speak to yourself with your past, but that you try to apply that to other people and how you love. Mm-hmm. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, so I think it's because I felt that, and I just want other people to feel the same thing.
Yeah.
Either it's still Christians or people that have no idea who the Lord is or anything like that. I want people to experience what I've experienced and still have it. People have told me in college, we went across college campus, a different college campus, and just talk to people about Christ. And always people say why do you believe in God, or do you not? Do you not? And people will always say these things, and I always tell them I get maybe some things that you're saying, but you will never be able to deter the fact that what I felt from the Lord. I have 100% know that this is Christ, that this is the Lord's love on my life, and I always can say that to people. So I just said just dive in, and I hope that you feel that same love that I felt, because I can never go back from that.
Yeah, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, the main topic that I wanted to get into with you as well today is setting boundaries, and more specifically, like you mentioned, setting boundaries that stick, or saying no without guilt. I know I personally have struggled with that in the past, and it's interesting because it feels like something almost okay to be bad at.
Yeah.
On paper, you you're like, oh yeah, a weakness of mine is setting boundaries. That almost feels like a cop out answer for like a job interview
Right?
or
It's like
something.
a bad but
Like,
good thing. I was like,
yeah.
oh, okay, that's great. Yeah.
But I think, you know, as a Christian and as a person, even if it's not in the church, like that is definitely something that is really important. So can you just kind of give us a little introduction to that topic? Like what is it that you're passionate about within that?
Yeah, I think I would say I've worked on this really hard in the past 5 years. Before that, I was really bad at boundaries. I would say yes to everything, and I knew when there's times it's a weird like physical thing. My eye would twitch when I get like super stressed or overbound, like over stuff doing I have going on, and so I would my eye twitches like dang it. I said yes to too many
Yeah.
things. In reality, it's crazy, but it's just like a thing that my body did. It's just probably my body reacting to stress. But I think like when we recognize our time and energy are limited, that's a really good thing.
Yeah.
It's not limitless. Like you don't have unlimited time and energy throughout your day or week or life. And so I think that when we ditch that people pleaser mindset,
Yeah.
for me that's really big. I always have been wanting to be a people pleaser, but boundaries are really protecting you and others. So I had to change that mindset of okay, like protecting myself will help others. And even with the family, I have a wife and a 1.5-year-old, and with them be my number one ministry in reality, that's been a good shift as well of my deciding factors for a lot of things. Because if I say yes to that, I'm either saying no to something at work or something with them, and that's something I really want to have boundaries on in reality because they're my number one. I want to make sure they're good. So saying no really ensures your yeses are
Yeah.
meaningful and intentional.
Mm-hmm.
There's some people in my life that if I ask them something and they say yes to, I know that's like, oh my gosh, like thank you so much. You have so much going on, but you were so intentional and you said yes to something, and I take that very close to my heart. So
Yeah.
I love when I can tell those people that are really strategic in that way about their boundaries, and when I get a yes from them, like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I'll take it any day.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. The next question that I wanted to ask you regarding that is, I think, like I said, whether you work at a job in a church or a corporate job, or maybe you're even like a stay-at-home parent or whatever,
We love them.
I feel like there's always this layer of like, or often at least, I don't want to let my team down, or I don't want to let my leader down, or even people beneath you,
Yep.
like, you know, beneath you, like in a more corporate-y sense, you know?
My org chart.
Right.
No, I feel that deeply, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that that's probably where that stems from. And it's a healthy thing. The root, you know, might be healthy.
Yep.
So what do you think the balance is between not letting your team down, so to speak, but also protecting yourself?
Yeah. It's cliche, but you can't pour from an empty cup kind of thing.
Right.
I will always go back to that. It's really helping your team if your cup is full.
Yeah.
If you're empty, you're really doing a disservice to your team. So again, it's a mindset thing. Like if you say yes, 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 just thinking that you're a people pleaser thing, or you want to say yes to everyone, sometimes saying no can sound mean. Or make you think like, oh, I'm so mean or I'm so selfish.
Sure, right.
That's not the case. You're really helping yourself. Like I just said, you're helping yourself, and you're helping your team to do that as well. I think like the clarity with things that I have said is like, I'm so sorry, I can't help you fully, but here's what I will do.
Sure. Right.
So I'll give them like a piece of something, like I can't do much, but here's how I can contribute. But even like in a marriage or in a parenting and stuff, like there are some days where I get home, I'm just exhausted from the day or whatever. But Tia's my wife. She's been home all day with Nakoa that day, and she's like, I'm exhausted as well. But here's what I'll do. And I was like, great. Here's what I'll do. Let's do a team. Let's make it happen. And so it's really just that communication back and forth. And I want to contribute from a place of strength, not weakness.
Yeah.
So making sure your cup really is full in those times is huge. Again, it's cliche, but it's so true. You're helping others making sure that you are setting good boundaries for yourself, that you're healthy, that your cup is full, because you're just going to be able to pour into your family, pour into my wife, pour into my kids, your team at work or here at church, or even serving wise. You want to have your cup full.
Cool. Yeah, that's so good. I love to, like, about I'm just thinking about your response about the cup full thing,
Mm-hmm.
like how you keep saying it's cliche, but I think it is really good, like a really good illustration where, you know, watering a plant or something, also, of course, cliche, but like you can't water the plants if you don't first fill
Mm-hmm.
the watering thing. And so I think that that's a really good illustration for me to be like, I always want to help, but where, am I helping in a way that's actually helpful if
Yep.
I'm pouring out on E?
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's
Exactly.
really good.
And I think where do you find the time where you fill your cup? And that's where the communication really goes. Something I saw online somewhere, my wife and I haven't like started or anything, but they'll come home and this couple will say, "Hey, I'm at 90%. I'm really good. I'm really great." The other person's like, "Hey, I'm at 20%. Like
Right.
that's all I can give right now." So that communication back and forth. You need time to fill yourself. So that person at 90, they will take on whatever responsibilities, whatever they need to at home. Or
Right.
that person, at 20, they can take some time to recoup whatever that may be. If that's just like, hey, I need to go out, shop alone, or do
Right.
something, grocery
Yeah.
shop or whatever. I don't know why, but for me, maybe you can relate, but I miss nighttime stuff of having a kiddo. Like his bedtime 7 to 8 or whatever.
Yeah.
So like we're home and that's family time, eating, bedtime, and then we're kind of home obviously because he's in bed. I just miss going out at night, and
Yeah.
so Tia and I will have a date night, and I was like, I just want to go to Target at nighttime. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
it just refills me. It just maybe brings me back just to be able to kind of do whatever. But I just love that so much. So just I know it's so simple, but I love being able to do that. So if I have to go out at night, sometimes like I'll do it. Like let me go out. I'll
Right.
shop,
Yeah.
go grab it from the grocery store because it's simple, but it totally fills me up. It's just something I love. So just finding those moments. So you have to have communication with yourself, but also with your partner, your team, to make sure that you're finding times to fill your cup.
Yeah, I like your strategy of like when there's something that has to get done that might be a responsibility, if you can use that as a method to fill your cup.
Yeah.
That's a really, because you could even apply that to like, maybe again, like a corporate setting of like, well, somebody has to go out and get coffee. And if maybe one of your team members has been like, I'm feeling a little overworked, I need some time out of the office or whatever, it's
Yeah.
like maybe for them, that's a,
Mm-hmm.
a way to contribute and also to still be helping.
For sure.
Like,
Especially the creative people. If you can get them out of their office or out of their space for whatever time,
right.
that's super great. Like
Yeah.
it's super helpful. So if like you said, if there's someone needs to go get coffee, maybe grab a creative person. Like, hey, can you want to just go get coffee, take a little quick break, just seeing things around, taking a drive, grabbing coffee. It's super helpful for them. It's helpful for me. I'm creative in a sense too.
Yeah.
So getting out of my office is super great because I just want to make sure that I am fully focused, but sometimes you need those breaks to do that.
Yeah. No, that's good. Cool. The next question that I had for you is another worry. Yeah, I just wrote down. So another worry that I have is the thought of saying no might have me miss out on opportunities.
Yep.
I'm not going to say what, but I just had this feeling like a month ago of, I'll say it again, like saying no might have me miss out on opportunities. And so the question that I have is, do you think there's truth to that? And how would you respond to someone with the same worry or situation?
Yeah, no. I totally feel that. I have the biggest FOMO ever. Probably like it's bad, so bad. I see something like, oh my gosh, I want to be there.
Yeah.
Or I wish I could have been there, or something, whatever the case may be. But I really do think that every opportunity is not your opportunity. So you might see that, but that's not your opportunity.
Yeah.
So I think just trust God's timing in that. I think saying no creates a space for a better opportunity or maybe more aligned opportunities
Sure.
for you.
Yeah.
So whatever even that you said no to, you're having like, oh, dang it,
Right.
whatever. But maybe just have that mindset of what did this create space for, to do something that's more aligned, with what I have. I think of even kind of like cleaning out your closet in a sense. So I had this clothing rack, I would say. Since I had my house for about 8 years or so, I've had it. It's been through a lot of
Sure.
clothes. I like to thrift, and so just gradually, it's probably happened a few months ago, but gradually just clothes, and I would rarely go through my clothes and take things out or not. But eventually saw it shake a little bit. I was like, oh no, put a sweater in and it shake it. It's fine, push it back, push it back, push it back. Eventually one morning I woke up and it's toppled over.
Right.
I was like, ah, dang it. I think I thrifted a little too hard here. But I think that's a great analogy in a sense too of you have to make space for these things. So like when I have all my clothes in, if I'm not taking off old clothes I don't really wear anymore, but I could use it for that one thing in 5 years from now, whatever. You really want to create space for those cool opportunities. In the sense of this clothing rack, I want to make space for new thrifting things I find. My friend Tyler, he is really good at this. I think he gives me clothes all the time. He's like my personal thrift store.
Right.
His closet is, because he'll buy something and he'll give me something in return in a sense.
Oh,
so
okay.
he will put something on his clothes rack or in his closet, and then he'll get something away. Not always to me, but just in general, he
Right.
will.
Sure.
And I like that. That's a great thing. Like you're making space for something new. You're making space for something, another opportunity for something. So I think that's where, not every opportunity is yours, but you usually need to trust God's timing in that, and just really open space for things. Because if you're always full, if you're saying yes to all these opportunities, you're going to miss something, or you're not going to be able to say yes to something that is probably more aligned with your goals and your passions. So that's what I'd say for that.
Yeah, that's great. That's super cool. Cool. The last question that I had for you is, I think everyone knows that you can't say yes to everything. Yeah. Kind of, especially to your point of like, if you've thought about this constructively, you've probably come to somewhat of a similar conclusion of like, and if you haven't, that's great advice. But like, you're not going to be able to say your best yes if you're saying yes to everything, because you're not going to have time, like limited time, like you said. But that being said, in practice, how do you go about knowing what to say yes to and what to say no to? And what advice might you have in that area?
Yeah, so I think you just mentioned it too, but ask yourself, does this align with my priorities? Does this align with my goals? Or is it life-giving or is it draining in that moment? So I think a lot of those conversations can be had of where you're really trying to decide something, even with your situation. Is this going to be a good thing? Is this going to be life-giving, or is it going to be draining? Don't know why your yes or no was given there.
Right.
But I think asking those questions is huge. Willing to say yes is meaning that something important, willing to say yes is you're saying no to something else for sure.
Right.
To some point, if that's I'm not giving my full to something. So you just have to make sure that I'm saying yes to this. What is going to be hurt? What could potentially be hurt in saying yes to that? Or is this life-giving? Is this going to be beneficial?
Right.
Is this more on what God has walked me through, or is this what the path that God has me on, and these things? So I think really you have to make those questions in your own head of just asking those, praying through those. And every yes is, like I said, every no is that right? Every no is a yes.
Every yes is a no to something.
I just said that. Yeah. Every yes is a no to something. So you really have to trust that gut, and really God's plan and what God has for you. So as you're thinking through those things, really ask that question: what is this affecting for me? Like I said, I think in the beginning, like it could affect something with my family. If my cup isn't full, or if I'm giving them enough this week, and I'm going to take another opportunity, I'm just taking another thing away from my family, which, like I said, is number one for me. Is my number one ministry, is my number one attention really should be for them. And so I understand taking opportunities to do things and stuff, but if I'm taking so much away from that, is it really benefiting me? Is that opportunity really beneficial overall to my health or my family? So yeah, asking that question is, I think, really important moving forward.
Yeah, no, that's good. Could you give you kind of give one at the end there, but could you maybe give some examples of, you said saying yes to something is also saying no to something. I think Could you maybe give some examples of like what you mean by that?
Totally, yeah. Maybe I just mentioned it kind of with my family. But like if I work a regular like 9 to 5 kind of thing.
Right.
I used to go to the gym at 6:30 at night. Realized the schedule really wasn't working out because I would work until 4 or 5, and then I would go home for like 5 or 30 minutes to an hour, go to the gym. By the time I'm back from the gym, Nicola, my son, he has about 30 minutes left. I'm like, that's probably not the best yes in that situation. So what I did was I then now go super early in the morning, which also stinks.
Right.
But it's beneficial for my family. So making that shift of saying yes or saying no to that allowed me to say yes of my family time.
Right.
Because that was super important. Get home because Tia, my wife, she's always like, I only have like 30 minutes here and then you leave and you come back. It just was not great for our relationship, wasn't great for family time, wasn't great to give attention to my son. So making that shift was super important, I think. And then if I say at work space, if I say yes to everything, keep on saying yes, I think in reality, you're saying no to the things you already said yes to the level of it. Because you're not going to be able to do everything 100%. There's just not that capacity. If you do, please come and let's switch lives because that'd be great. But no, boundaries are good. But yeah, you're going to have to say no to something in an extent. So like those opportunities, like if you said no to this opportunity, that's going to open up hopefully for another yes or even better just with your family or whatever the time may be with that. So for examples, those are something I think give in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like I just even think to something as simple as like this video right here that we're making or this podcast that we're making. Like I think that for me personally, when I was thinking about doing this, I was like, man, that's going to be, I'm going to have to get up early, get to wherever I'm filming to set everything up. Because this isn't a permanent setup. Like, I have to move all this after we're done, and I did this morning.
Yeah.
And then I try to do 2 in one day. Film, and then film another one, and then tear everything down. And by the time I get home, it's going to be dinner time. And at first I was like, I don't really know that makes sense for where I'm at right now in life. And so I prayed about it because I felt like God put it on my heart to do it. And he was like, well, first of all, I'm telling you to, so it's a good yes.
There we go.
Yeah, but also too, just, I had been yearning for the opportunity to make some media that had a more eternal purpose, if that makes sense.
Yep, 100%.
I do stuff for churches as well in general that like some of my clients are churches and stuff. But I don't know, a lot of the like other things I was making, I was like, this is cool, but like I want to make something like that has a bigger emphasis on the like long-term impact of like wisdom or something like that. And so I just felt like God was like, well, this will be a big commitment, but like it aligns, kind of what you were saying, it aligns with the values and the goals of life that you might have or that God might have put on your heart. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And I haven't really thought about it like that before this. Like, I think I enacted your advice without realizing that's what I was doing.
You did it.
You know what I mean?
Kudos to you.
But
you said no, but you did it.
Right. But I think I need to do that more. Like, that's really smart. I think that's very wise to think that, like, it almost feels like both are true. Your no is an opportunity for a better yes, and your yes is also a no to something else. Yep. Like, I don't feel like it's just one of those things. It's 100%. For sure both.
Yep.
And so I think I might. That's really good advice to directly ask myself that, like, what am I saying no to by saying yes right now, and what am I saying, whatever the opposite is. I'm mixing it up too.
Writing it down though, like I always thought when I think I first got this job here, I had a list of good things and bad things, and you just not bad things, I guess, but the job
pros and cons,
pros and cons of things. And that just helped me visually even see it. I knew it all in my head, but putting it down all next to each other, like I got it. Okay, now I can visually see it. So even in these situations where saying a yes to something, like let's write it down, because some things are not that big where you might not need to do that too.
Sure.
Some things are. If that helps you, don't do it. Write it down, see what the pros and cons are. Like, is that a better yes? And we were having this conversation right before we probably clicked play, of like, you just had conversations with people about faith, and it really just fueled you.
Yeah.
And you wanted to hear more of that, and you wanted more people to hear that. And so that's something that's been with you for years, and something that really aligns with what I feel God's calling you to do, and you're doing it. So kudos. You really should be sitting here at that point, because you did it already, and it's working out great.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. I think this is really good advice. I kind of, like you said, for years now, I've been just wanting to, I don't know, I would have conversations like this with like really rich wisdom with other believers where I was learning so much. And then I felt like, man, I wish I was recording that, because like now it's like what I remember is still with me, but like the rest is gone, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I can't listen back to that. And like there was so much there, and I felt like God could have used it if I remembered it, you know, and now, you know, kind of doing this, that's the whole point, is like, I want people listening to be able to benefit. I want God to be able to use my efforts to make this stuff. So thank you for being a part of it, and for
super
giving
honored.
your advice on something that you're passionate about, that you feel like you've learned a lot, and you've certainly helped me. Like I think that nugget there is of like really asking that question of like, what am I saying yes and no to when there's like big decisions? Like, that's really, really good, and gonna benefit me like today, you know, like that's really good. So thank you.
No problem. Thanks for inviting me. You're always so kind.
Well, I
invite
appreciate
me to
that.
this stuff, so you're great. I love your work.
Well, I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
Is there anything before we close that you'd like to promote? Like, do you have any? Where can we find Jordan Lee? Where
You can
we
find
more?
me on Instagram. I'm mainly on Instagram. I have like TikTok and stuff, but
Cool.
I'm really mainly on Instagram. Jordan Lee Bird
Awesome.
is my Instagram handle. It's an old college nickname. Changed it, and then like, I'm not going to change it now. So it's
That's
just
how it always goes, right?
I know. Honestly, I wish I knew what it was before that, because like, how embarrassing was that one? Because I always, like, when I first got hired here, they thought my last name was Bird.
Oh, really?
Because of just my like Instagram handle. That's how I found Pastor John Brown, is the one that brought me here. And we just knew each other over social media.
Sure.
So he just thought my last name was Bird.
Oh, that's
so all
so
my
funny.
like paperwork said Jordan Bird
Jordan
on it. I was like, oh, this is not my name, but we can get it changed and fix it. So it's just kind of funny how that all happens. But it's just an old college nickname.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's great.
Cool. All right, awesome. Well, definitely check out Jordan's pages, and if you guys want to see more from the Seek Wisdom podcast, we will be on YouTube for long form. I'll also be throwing the audio on Spotify and Apple Music, and then we'll also be doing some short form on TikTok, Instagram, you name it. So thank you guys for being here, and we will see you next time.